What's going on, boys and girls? It's me, BenDPB, with a brand new episode of Ben Meets, and today I've got one of the funniest content creators out there. It's, of course, the worst football manager. How you doing, dude? You alright?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I feel fine, thank you. I feel a lot of pressure. You saying I'm the funniest creator out there. Wow, I feel esteemed to be called that, but a
You,
lot of pressure now in the next however long this is going to be.
so you better make people laugh then.
I know, yeah. If people don't laugh, then I'm a total letdown. Forget about me. Don't go on my channel. It'll be a waste of your time, innit?
I'll just cut it all out otherwise. I'll cut that section out and it'll be about a 15-minute interview instead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And stick some carefully timed canned laughter and then we're away.
One of the reasons why I said you were the funniest out there because some of the things you do, like your halftime show. Big fan of the halftime show.
Oh.
One of my favourite ones was your Christmas tree, your Christmas decorations episode. Absolutely loved that episode. You, the dog was there as well, getting involved and whatnot. So that was one of the more funny ones I've seen. But it's a really good concept. I know you've gone back to doing your actual halftime show now. We do your own little episode.
Yeah.
That's quite an innovative idea. Not many people, in fact, nobody does that sort of thing. Where did that come from? Was it just something you thought about on the toilet one day, or?
Yeah, just sitting on the bog doing a number two and out it pops. The idea as well as the thing. I don't know. I think I watch a lot of vlogs. People make these videos, particularly the ones that are like every day of their life. They film their life, whatever. And I kind of these random thoughts pop in my mind. And I thought I'd just share them with the world, really. And I think I was putting the Christmas decoration lights up, and I quite like just filming stuff in general. So I thought, oh, you know what? I'll make like a big old Christmas video. So I just started filming different things of Christmas, and that was probably one of the first things I did. I think putting those Christmas lights up. So I was like, I'll just film it and see what happens. And then as I'm doing it, I think of ideas, so that I then take all that footage and then edit it together. And I thought it would just make it a bit different, just a bit different from usual. Like, obviously I love Football Manager and I love doing all the Football Manager stuff and making videos about Football Manager, because it's great. But I want to be different, and I want to sort of chuck in different thoughts and ideas and just being myself, really. So I thought I'd chuck it in with the Football Manager stuff and see how it goes. Yeah, because it's pretty. Obviously, I realised when I was making it that I realised how different it is to the rest of the video. Like, obviously, I'm talking about Football Manager, and suddenly in the middle of it, I'll do a whipped cream impression or something, and I'm like, why on earth am I doing that? But it was fun, and people seem to like it, so that was all right.
I loved it. I thought it was great. Honestly, I looked forward to the halftime show. I know, you can actually try and do like a vlog series of the halftime show. So I'm looking forward to my because that should be good. It should be good.
Well, yeah, I hope so. In honesty, it's a shame because I did love doing it like in the middle of the video, and I quite enjoyed sort of creating it and coming up with ideas. But it just took so much time, and I found it was like slowing down making other videos. Do you know what I mean? I was finding that I wasn't putting out Football Manager videos because I wasn't being able to find the time to think through a decent halftime show idea and then edit that all together, because it like doubled the length of time it took for editing and everything. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do here? So yeah, I'm trying this idea of having like the halftime show on a little video of its own and seeing how that goes. So I've recorded a couple already. I've just got to actually edit them. It's different bit entirely, you know what I mean? And I've got to get that done. But hopefully people will still enjoy it anyway, even though they're not embedded in the Football Manager videos. We'll see.
Do you have any plans of how often you want to release? Like weekly, 2 weekly, monthly? Or is it just as and when something happens?
Yeah, I guess it would be good if it's always good, isn't it, when people have schedules? Those clever people on YouTube who are like, oh yeah, I have a schedule. I just think that's genius, isn't it?
I've tried that, mate. If you look at my channel, mate, I'm such an infrequent loader. I don't, like you said, I don't find the time with family and work. I just don't find the time. How people I said it last week's episode. How people like the Northmen do two sometimes 3 episodes a day. Do you know what I mean? You got Just
So
Mike
impressive.
Play, you got Dr. Benji. How do they find time to shit, let alone record an episode, man? That's unreal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. Yeah. Like, I think you've just got to do what you can do, haven't you? You've just got to, carve out your time and decide how much you're going to do and stick to it. Which I'm trying to do 3 videos a week at the moment. And I've got this kind of, it's kind of big old theory about it all. Of like, there's kind of a graph of like one end of the spectrum is quality, and then the other end of the spectrum is like, I don't know, kind of frequency of putting videos out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you could make a video that it's like such high quality, takes absolutely ages to make and edit and record and all that sort of stuff, but it's such high quality. And then you want to try and match that with putting videos out frequently. And then there's sort of somewhere between those two things, you've got to decide where you sit, haven't you? Am I going to do daily videos that are going to be this quality? Or am I going to try and put in a little bit more work, make a little bit better quality videos, and they're not going to be every day, but they might be every 3 days, every 4 days. Now, I'm not saying that people who put videos out every day are bad quality, because actually some of these people who put out videos every day, they've also got quality attached to it. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Look at look at Dr. Benji, right? High quality videos, and he's doing videos every day. But I'm sure, if you were to chat to him, he would say that takes time. It takes time to build up your quality to get to that level, to build up your kind of skills and the ability and automation so that you can create videos at a high quality easier and quicker, in order to get them out every day. But I think you've got to just look at yourself individually, haven't you, and go, right, okay, I've got this much time in my day. I'm willing to give this much of my life into this. And so here's the best quality I can do, and getting out frequently enough so that people are coming back and watching more of it. It's a really hard dynamic, isn't it? Like, really hard dynamic to get right, I think.
I mean, do you have a backlog of episodes, or do you record an episode at a time, for example? Because I know some guys record 5-10 episodes in a batch.
Yeah. I was listening to your it was either your chat with Northman or chat with Second Yellow Card about people who've had like 40 videos backlogged. Who was saying that?
Oh, it was Workspace.
Workspace, like 40 odd videos. Wow, that is impressive, isn't it? To be able to be that far ahead and organised. I was like flipping.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I can't do one, let alone freaking 40. Do you know what I mean?
Oh man, I don't think for me, I'll get to. I've had the dizzy heights of being about 4 episodes ahead. That was probably about a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe. No, I haven't been around for 2 years on YouTube, so it must have been about a year ago. Just making up random times. I remember 5 years ago I was doing that. No, about a year ago, I reckon. I got to a point where I was probably about 4 episodes ahead. So I would do like a week's worth in one night of recording, and then another night I'll try and edit as many as I could. But nowadays I'm probably only like 1 ahead. So I'll post one, and when I've posted one, I'll have another one ready. And then I'm also, but I'll be then having to record the one ahead, if that makes sense. So, yeah, so not bad. I'd like to be more ahead of that. However, to be honest, I then have to go. I have to travel quite a bit with my work, and I'll go away for like a week at a time. Oh, wow. And so then you kind of think to yourself, crap, how am I going to do this? So, I might spend like a day staying up late, just boshing a load of videos out, and then get up really early in the morning, do a load of editing in the morning, and try and get as many as I can done, and use hotel Wi-Fi and all this sort of stuff to upload when I can. It all gets a bit like frantic, and I've been in many meetings where I've been sat there in a meeting with kind of YouTube in the background uploading a video.
Shut up! Really?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't be saying this live on the internet, but all of my FM stuff is being done on my work laptop. I don't have my own laptop, so I just use work, so it's fine.
Just in a minute. Oh, hang on 2 seconds. I've nearly finished rendering.
Wait. Corby Carnage has got to be uploaded tonight. I've got to get it out there. Yeah, I don't think they'd appreciate that so much.
Shall I edit that bit out for you then, shall I?
Yeah, just put like a censored beep, or we'll edit that out. It'll be fine.
So, well, So why did you start YouTube? Was there a motivation? Was there a certain YouTube video or a certain YouTuber that inspired you? What brought that about for you?
Oh well, I guess. I suppose there's sort of two stories to this. There's the YouTube bit and there's the Football Manager bit. You know, so for me, I remember. So I'm a bit of an old boy. I remember pre-YouTube days where really I would play Football Manager, and I then found these like forums where people would write up the story of their Football Manager saves, and I was like, this is such an amazing idea. Like they kind of would craft like the kind of story around it, and it'd be dramatic, and it'd be like, you know, come back next week to the forum and I'll write what I do in the next season. And it was in an old website called The Dugout. I think it was, The Dugout it was called, and it was brilliant. And I was like, this is amazing. I'd love to do this, because I always loved playing Football Manager, and I was sort of like, Football Manager is quite an isolated game, isn't it? It's quite like you play it on your own. You know, and I actually quite like that. Like I'm just a bit of a loner, really. So I quite like kind of just playing games isolated on my own. I know they've done draft mode and all that sort of stuff, but that is no way near as good as the single player mode, right?
Agreed.
So anyway. So I'd play this game and I'd be like, you know, I want to share it in some way. Like I want to kind of share this experience of Football Manager with other people, and I never really did at the time. Then went off to uni, and when I was at uni, like other mates of mine would play Football Manager, and I remember one day we set aside a 24-hour period at uni where we all sat there on our computers and played Football Manager, all on completely different games. So we all played single player mode Football Manager, but then we'd talk about it in this room, and we like had food there and we had drinks there, and we had like other mates coming over and coming and sitting in with us just to chat about Football Manager. Well, it was Championship Manager back then, you know. And it was amazing, and it was so good just being able to share. And I was always like, I want to keep doing this when I want to keep sharing my experience. And then I left kind of Football Manager when I finished uni, and just didn't have time because of work ruining life and, you know, getting in the way. So I left Football Manager for a while, didn't play it for quite a few years, and then it kind of popped in my mind because YouTube had come along, and I just love watching YouTube videos of a whole bunch of stuff, right? You know, just all sorts of different videos, and it popped in my mind. I was like, you know what? I'd love to like create stuff on YouTube. I love recording stuff. I love filming things. I've done kind of a lot of like public speaking things in my life with various jobs and stuff, and so I was always this sort of mentality like, I think I could do this. Like, I think it would be a laugh. Not even knowing of anything of like a Football Manager community or anything like that. Didn't even think about it. So I decided I would record a video of me playing Football Manager. Anyway, uploaded it on YouTube, and then I start looking around, and suddenly I start seeing like there is everywhere. All these other people are doing it as well, and I was like, no way! Like, it's just so weird. So I started following some of the people who I really enjoyed listening to. Footy Manager TV actually was probably the first one I spotted, who's a fascinating character, right? Because nobody ever really talks about him, but he's got such a huge following, right?
He's got a stupid. I mean, he plays FIFA as well, doesn't he? So he's got a
stupid
amount of followers. But you're right. He's got an unbelievable. I'm gonna look him up now. Footy Manager TV. But I know he plays FIFA, and I know he plays FIFA as well. Let's have a look. You know what? This is live radio. I mean, look, 117,000 subscribers. He never gets talked about.
I know back in the day when I first saw him, anyway, and that was actually way before I posted anything, because I saw that he had posted that, and then I forgot about him, and then I remembered him again, and it used to be Football Manager stuff all the time. Like, ultimately, it's called Footy Manager TV, but like, yeah. So I started slowly getting to know more and more. I got to watch a lot of Dr. Benji and Work the Space and some of the real larger ones. And so I guess I am sort of inspired by those guys who create it as well. But I didn't particularly do it because of them, if you know what I mean. I sort of did it because I wanted to. And I think, I don't know, I've got this kind of theory that in all of us, we all want to sort of share something. We want to share our experiences, and just Football Manager is just such a great game. And because it's so isolating and that it's only one person that does it, that it doesn't surprise me that so many people are like, yeah, come on, let's share what we're playing here and let's enjoy it together. And that's what I love about making videos of Football Manager and watching them as well, just interacting with people who love the game together, you know?
I mean, you've got now nearly 500 subscribers, which is absolutely massive. I mean, do you set yourself a target or do you just go with the flow? I mean, some people set themselves yearly targets, or are you guys just sort of take it as and when it comes, for example?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think when I started, I had no idea of the Football Manager community, and so I just went for it or whatever. I did sort of do this weird thing, and it's slightly different now. But when I started, I decided not to tell anyone I knew. So none of my colleagues, none of my friends were aware about it. Literally, the only person that was aware about it was my wife. And I thought I'd just do that as an experiment to see what I could do, growing a channel from literally nothing. Do you know what I mean? You know, not having kind of 20 odd mates subscribe at the beginning or something like that, but literally going from nothing. So I just thought I'd see how it goes. I think if I'm brutally honest, I thought, oh, you know, within a year I'll be at 20,000 or something like that. I'm sure it'll be great. And obviously that doesn't happen. So you kind of think, oh, okay, you know, never mind. I don't know. I don't particularly have a target that I go, I want this many people to subscribe, or I want this many people to like it. What I want to do is I want to kind of serve the people that watch it well, if that makes sense. So the people that tune in, I want them to really enjoy their video, and I want them to be like, I'm so glad I clicked this video. Do you know what I mean? And if that means that it's good enough that they click the like button, then I'm like, buzzing, that's great, that's really good. And so that I'm really pleased about that. And then if they're then also really enjoying it to the point where they want to write a comment of some kind and interact, then I'm like, oh man, that's even better. Do you know what I mean? That's so cool that these people are up for doing that. And then, you know, there's been some times when some people have said actually they want to share it, and you know, and they'll share it with their mates. And you know, when you get those, I'm sure you've had it as well, when like somebody tweets something like, oh, you know, you've got to check out BenDPB. You know, you just think, man, this person has watched this video and loves it so much that they're willing to share it to somebody else. Like, that is just great. I love that. I love that so much. And so for me, it's, if I can help people interact and create a little community and people enjoy it and they get 15 minutes of joy in their day by watching the video, then I'm like, great. And if that's to 10 people, if that's to 500 people, if that's to, you know, the millions of subscribers that some of these channels get, then fair play. Do you know what I mean? That's good enough for me.
I'm happy to hear that it's not just me that thought they'd go into YouTube in the first year be an absolute smash hit. That's, like I said in the previous episode, in my arrogance, there's some reason I just thought I'd come into YouTube and have like 20,000 subs in a year. Do you know what I mean? And I remember. But you're also right. I mean, even to this day now, I still get that rush when I get a like on my video or when I get a new subscriber. And part of me thinks, and Second Gen kind of spoke about it, part of me thinks if I ever was to get to that Dr. Benji stage, would I still get that same rush of adrenaline when I get a new like or a new subscriber? I'd like to think that I would. But when I get that email going, you so-and-so has just subscribed to your channel, I think, yeah, I can't believe it. They subscribed to my channel. Or when I get a tweet like you just said, there's a guy who's been very kind and tweeting me recently, I'm not going to name him, but he's been tweeting me asking when's the next episode of Ben Meets out. There's another guy who's commented a couple of videos asking when's the next episode going to come out. And it makes you feel really good, like you're doing something right.
Yeah, totally. And I think, you know, because ultimately, like, it's not to get all philosophical on it, you know, but like, there's sort of, I think there's something within us all where we all kind of crave some kind of like acceptance and from others. Do you know what I mean? We kind of, when we're acknowledged by other people, I think there's something within us all where we like that. And I think that's totally natural and normal. Do you know what I mean? I think as long as people aren't like driven by it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think when people, you can see some YouTubers do it, and I think you see some people and various, not just YouTubers, but other creators, I'm sure as well, where the drive and the sort of desire for somebody to go, oh, you're great, gets so high that they're kind of, I don't know, they're like overwhelmed by it, and they're filled with like pressure by it when they don't get that. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, they get slightly less viewers on a video and they're freaking out about it, being like, oh my goodness, no one's watching this video, and you know, and everyone hates me, and oh my goodness, I've only had this many likes on a video. And I think that's when it can get a bit like, chill out, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of want to get those people and say, don't worry about it. You know, it's a bit of fun. It's a great game to play. You know, there are some people who are going to want to watch your videos, and there are some people who are going to not want to watch your videos, and that's okay. Don't let the sort of craving and the desire for a like or a comment kind of dictate what you create, you know? Does that make sense?
100%. No, 100%. I agree. I mean, you've already answered one of my other questions about advice for YouTubers, and you've given it there already.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's some great advice for any aspiring content creators, shall we say. I mean, obviously, you play a lot of lower league saves, journeyman saves, should we call it. Is that how you play the game offline as well, or is that just solely something you do for YouTube?
At the moment, the only save I'm doing is Corby.
Yeah.
I haven't had time for anything else, to be honest. But I'm a sucker for a low league save, mate. I can't help myself. The lower the league, the better. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago when I got back into kind of Football Manager. So I got Football Manager 2015. That I didn't even realise, this is how much of a rookie I am. I didn't even realise that people made databases of like low leagues. And it just, man, I felt alive. Mate, when I could go into the Ryman leagues and be Bracknell Town. It made my day. It was brilliant. They're not even actually, Bracknell Town aren't even in the Ryman leagues. They're in Hellenic Premier or something like that. And mate, I just love it. I love the kind of the challenge of it. I can't get out. To the point where I now like. I'm really, really not fussed about managing Premier League sides. I enjoy watching people's saves and hearing about how people take, Spurs or whatever, and taking them up, and I enjoy like hearing about it. But for me, it bores me too quickly, and so I need to be a low league side. I love the struggle. The struggle's real, man. The struggle's real.
I haven't played as a Premiership team in I don't know how long. I mean, I literally every year I play, because I'm a Luton Town fan, every year I play as Luton Town. And this is the first year I've actually thought, screw it, I'm going to do a Luton Town save on YouTube, because normally I've always got an offline save as Luton Town that I try and play in the meanwhile. But I'm like you, dude. I don't very often play as Real Madrid. In my younger days, I did, of course. When I was like 19, 20, I was always Manchester United. I was getting Chelsea to buy my crappish youth team player for £50 million. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's before the days of data editor and that's in-game editor. I used to do that, because when you were a youngster, you like to be the big teams. But as I got older, much like you, I like to be the lower teams.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's the kind of. It's the challenge of it, isn't it? And the kind of the unknown players, and that kind of you've got to put in the work to really get to know your squad and to kind of go. You want to develop your squad and your players, but you still got to keep it simple at low league football, which suits me because I'm pretty crap at the game anyway. So keeping it simple suits me pretty nicely. But yeah, you've got the sort of reality of no money and sort of just got to depend on these really shallow squads that just don't have enough players, and you lose your right back, and so you're going to have to put in a centre mid at right back because you haven't had a chance yet to build up your squad. I love it. Actually, it's funny really, because I guess going back to the YouTube stuff, I do remember when the first ever save I did on YouTube was Aldershot, and then after that I was like, because that was when I began to realise, you don't like get loads and loads of people watching at first. You've got to kind of work at it. And I thought to myself, okay, shall I manage a high league club who people will want to watch a lot of? And I thought to myself, I spent a long time thinking about it, because I did realise that I'd find it boring personally, but it would probably be good for YouTube. And I had to decide. I was like, no, actually, I have to make stuff that I enjoy playing. Do you know what I mean? I'm willing to invest all these hours into playing. And so I'm so glad I didn't manage a Premier League side back then, because I think I probably would have got bored and then probably not made any more YouTube videos about it. You know what I mean? So I realised that for me, anyway, not necessarily for everyone, but for me, the low league sides, I just enjoy it too much. And I sometimes think to myself, am I going to get to a point where like I ever get them promoted so high that I then start finding it boring because they're promoted? But I don't think I'll ever get them that high. So.
You never know.
You never know. Dreams can come true, right?
Back-to-back promotions, eh?
Oh, that would live in the dream. That would be. I think I've got 2 promotions with the club. That's the best I've ever done on Football Manager.
I mean, out of your save, your Sutton Scramble, Corby Carnage, the Gloucester Gamble. I mean, out of all your saves, do you have a favourite save that you played?
Oh, I did. So that, weirdly, the save that was in the last year's Football Manager. So I started with Gloucester, got sacked from them, went to Gosport, got sacked from them, so went to Sutton. That was, I know, it's depressing, isn't it? Depressing. That was all one save, actually. So that save was really good, and I absolutely loved managing Sutton. I really enjoyed it. Really felt like I got to know the squad, and then it was just so cool because this year, obviously, with their cup run that they did, it was I felt so like connected to them as a real team as they were going in the FA Cup, and obviously they got knocked out to Arsenal, right? But I felt connected to them, and I even had at one point their striker, who's actually their backup striker now in real life, a guy called Dan Fitchett. He was like one of my best strikers, and I got him to tweet me, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever!" Like Dan Fitchett genuinely tweet. I think I sent him like a link to the video where like I was chanting his name or something weird like that. Probably all creepy, to be honest. Sorry, a bit creepy. So it just occurred to me that really creepy.
Block.
Yeah. But he replied. He replied to my tweet. So
more out of fear than anything else.
Yeah, me and Fitchett. We're we're like that. We are.
I've tweeted Jack Marriott, who's my man from FM. We've got one. We've all got one from every year and again that we play. And my one at FM 17 is Jack Marriott. FM 16 it was Captain Fantastic Marek Kamsic from Napoli. This year's Jack Marriott. I've tweeted Jack Marriott about 20 times. He's never once liked or tweeted me back, and it's just like every time it's like an ex-girlfriend ignoring your texts. It's just like, please, just reply back. Just like it. Just so I know that you acknowledge I exist, that I'm still there. But he's never bothered. He's a bit of a git. He's playing hard to get. I'm going to get him one day.
Yeah, he's playing hard to get. Either that, or you're going to get a letter through the post with a sort of restraining order.
I've got 7 of those already from Marek from Napoli. So. I mean, do you? I mean, I'm talking a bit in advance here, but a lot of guys have already made plans for FM18. I haven't, but have you made plans for FM18 yet?
No, not really. I say not really. I've got this random idea in my head that I might try. What about you? Have you got any plans? You've got no plans? So.
No plans whatsoever. I haven't even thought about it. I mean, normally I start off with a larger team like a Napoli, just so I can get a feel for the game. You know, getting used to the match engine, get a feel for it, and then I'm going to start looking at a longer term plan. So I'll probably start off again, maybe as like, I don't know, Red Bull Leipzig or something. Give that a season or two. And then look to, once the first or second update comes in the patch, then look to potentially start a new save. But I haven't really thought that far ahead. I mean, when I started FM 17, I was debating between a Red Bull Leipzig or Luton Town save because nobody at the time was doing Red Bull Leipzig. But obviously, since they arrived, since they started smashing it in real life, YouTube just blew up with loads of Red Bull Leipzig saves. Yeah.
So I've seen a few.
I look back now, I think I wish I'd done it because I probably would have been there at the very start, got a load more viewers, but I might not have enjoyed it as much. But they've got some awesome players there at Red Bull, so it's definitely one that I'm looking at for potentially next season. But I tend to change my mind every weekend, truth be told.
yeah. One thought I've just remembered my other idea as well, because I think there is something about getting a team that are just about to do well or like kind of coming up the ranks a bit, and I'm wondering about finding one of these brand new teams that have been kind of founded and going with one of them. And seeing how that might work. Have you heard? I don't know if you've heard about this. There's a team in London that I can't even remember what they're called. You know what? I can't remember what they're called.
Great start.
Oh no, it's a great start. You'll be able to find them really easily if you don't know them. But basically, the whole deal with them is that you kind of vote on who's going to be in their starting 11.
Oh wow!
So, what's it called? So there was like a trials. There were a whole bunch of trials for them, and they sort of started. And then the idea is that like there's loads of content online about this team, about how they're playing, about how they're training, all this sort of stuff. And then the idea is that the public can then vote on who their starting 11 is, and then they go with that. And so I wonder whether that could work on Football Manager somehow. Like if Sports Interactive were willing to try and get them into Football Manager and have that as an option to manage them. I don't know how that would work, and that would be a lot of work for them to do just for one team, but it would be pretty fun.
Dude, forget FM. That sounds amazing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna look that up. That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
that sounds really good.
I think they were on some other competitors' Football Manager podcast that I won't mention because we don't want to plug another Football Manager podcast.
No, of course, go on.
I think it was Deep Lion podcast, maybe.
Oh, right.
I think they might have mentioned it there. They may have even had the guy who was sort of involved in it. This was probably about 6 months ago, 9 months ago I heard about this.
Did you ever hear about that club, Ebbsfleet, back in the day? Ebbsfleet, and then, I think it was Ebbsfleet, where you could buy stakes, you could buy like shares in the club, and you got to vote on things like your man of the match. You also got to vote on the club's player of the month. You also got to vote on any potential new signings that may come in. And that was something, I'm sure it was Ebbsfleet, but that was something that was like, it wasn't a like a publicity stuff. They generally let you vote on that sort of stuff. And I always looked into the idea of buying shares to do it, but I could barely afford me packed lunch, let alone afford to buy shares in a club. But the idea of, like you said, having an input into how a club's run, to me sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's like it's taking like fans' ownership to a new level, isn't it? And it must be an absolute nightmare if you were part of the kind of the management team of it. But it's such a cool idea, even for a novelty for a few seasons, right? Just to see what happens. It's kind of almost putting fans' money where their mouth is a bit, really, isn't it? And saying, right, you think you know what you're talking about. Here's your opportunity to actually shape a team the way you want them to be and see if you can actually do it. So yeah, I think it'd be pretty fun. It's so annoying that I can't remember their name. It will come back to me in about an hour's time.
And then they get spanked 6-0, the manager blames you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've only got yourself to blame, fans. You've only got yourself to blame. Not so much recent times, but I did do that a little bit at kind of the early stages when I started YouTube, in that I would often ask on videos, okay, help me here, I need some support. And I genuinely was like, it's not just to create interaction. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Help. But what ended up happening is that, like, some bloke would go, right, go for a 4-4-2, control mentality, closing them down, rah, 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 you'll win every time. So I'll be like, all right, I'm going to try it. And then it wouldn't work. And so I would then get another comment on the next video that says, no, go for a 4-2-3-1 and, blah, 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 do all this. And give me a whole bunch of other advice. So I'd go, right, okay, I'm going to change everything and go for that. And I just realised it was the worst thing to do ever. Because obviously it meant that I was having a different tactic every game, and it was madness. It was absolute madness. So yeah, I learned from that.
Have these people been blocked from your YouTube page?
Yeah. I really appreciate your interaction, but I don't want it anymore. Please stop.
I lost a bugger off. Disable comments.
Yeah. Just watch the sub count go down.
How did you come up with your name? I know you say you're not very good at the game, but
I was aware, as I said, I wasn't really aware of much of a Football Manager community, but obviously I've seen esports around and stuff like that, and all of my experience of esports gamers and videos that I had seen was all genuinely about this is how you get better at the game, right? So this is this is the best tactics to use, this is how you can get really good. And pretty much everybody I'd seen would absolutely smash it on any game that I watched. I watched other games as well, and not that aren't sports, but they'd still be amazing at the game, and you'd think, how on earth are you so good at this? And I realized that for me, when I was going to start creating these videos, I was never going to be that. I realized right at the beginning, I'm never going to be kind of somebody who takes over a club from nothing, takes them to the Champions League, and wins absolutely everything, and winning having a season without losing. I'm never going to be that. So I thought, rather than preempt the kind of "Oh, you're well crap" kind of comments, I thought I would. I thought I'd just give my name right, the worst football manager ever. I suppose on a sense it is a little bit of a gimmick, I suppose, but it kind of is an intentional thing to say, here I am, just having a laugh with this, and this is more about the entertainment. You're not going to come and watch my videos to get better at Football Manager. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted to make that really clear. So I guess the name kind of does that. Although I do tend to sort of, I'm in this thing of thinking, should I change my name to something? Because I don't want people thinking I'm like slagging off Football Manager. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if people might think, oh, is he just like, he hates Football Manager, so he's saying like, Football Manager 2017 is the worst football manager there's been. I don't want people to think I mean that. I'm thinking of changing my name. That's a bit of an exclusive, actually.
You could put the worst football manager.
Yeah, I could change it to the. Yeah.
Big capital, the worst football manager. That's about as good as a name change I can give you, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, thanks for the idea. I'll throw it into the pot.
Add one word to it, see if that helps,
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that pot might get burnt, and with something replaced with some other ideas that are better. But thanks for the input. I appreciate
my name just shows you, my YouTube name just shows you that my creative process isn't great. Nobody can pronounce my name. I pronounce it wrong sometimes. It's BenDPB. I get
BenDPB.
I get BenDPP, BenBBB. So I might have to change my name as well because nobody can even pronounce it. So it's a bit of a nightmare. But
what is it? Are they your initials?
Yeah, it's just my initials. It's just my initials. And like my son, he always walks around and goes, "Hi, I'm BenD," because he watches my videos, and he walks around going, "Oh, I'm BenDPB," and he says, "Oh, I'm Jack DBP." Do you know what I mean? So I think if I change it, he may kick my head in, so I might have to leave it in.
Oh, you might have to leave it in, or just kind of create some fake videos that he can watch with that name. And
I like your idea.
Keep
Good
the illusion
idea.
up.
That's a lot more editing, though, isn't it? I've got to then create a fake series just for my 6-year-old son. Bloody hell.
Yeah, that is quite a lot of work, isn't it? Actually, yeah. Yeah, don't do that.
I know you said you watch a bit of YouTube and you watched it before. I mean, who do you currently watch, apart from myself, of course?
Obviously.
Are there any other YouTubers that you watch on a regular basis, whether it be large or small? If so, who do you recommend?
I guess there's Football Manager YouTubers and YouTube that's Football Manager related, and then there's sort of the rest of the YouTube world.
Yeah, give me both. Give me both.
I think I'll be honest. I was listening to your chat with Second Yellow Card actually, and I think he said something that I probably would also put myself in the same answer of. Is I actually, since I've kind of, I find that when I'm in the process of making lots of videos of Football Manager, the time I have to watch more Football Manager is actually quite limited. So like I don't think there's any season. Is there any season that I watch all of? I don't think there is any season that I watch all of. I do watch Dr. Benji, the road trip save. I think it's just really fun, and I just really, really enjoy it. And actually, I do find myself now and then watching, even though I don't think I would create these videos myself because I'm crap at the game, I do quite like watching videos of Football Manager that are kind of helpful videos, like, here's a decent tactic, or here's some thoughts I've had about team morale, or so one example of that is Football Manager Youth Development.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
Yeah, so he's made some really interesting videos that are just really helpful. So I would say they're totally different to the rest of, like, they're not sort of, not that they're not entertaining and that you don't want to watch them, but they're not there for entertainment. They're there for kind of helpful information, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So I watch that for that. And Fox in the Box, I used to watch a lot of him when he did more Football Manager content. He made some really helpful videos, particularly about Prozone and stuff last season. So I watched a lot of that back then. I guess mildly attached to Football Manager is I'm watching Lolujo's vlogs religiously, actually. I watch them every day, his vlogs at the moment. Lolujo's vlogs are brilliant.
I'm the same.
Are you?
I've said before, I watch his vlogs more than his Football Manager now, because I don't watch as much FM as I used to, so I just don't get the time. But when I do, I watch his vlogs every day. It's religiously. I love watching him in the morning with my breakfast. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. They go up at 7 a.m, so I tend to watch him in the morning. But his vlogs are amazing. I don't know what it is about Lelouch. Maybe it's like I'm so
excited for him stepping into, like, you know, because he's quitting his job, isn't he, and stepping into kind of doing this full time, and you just think that I'm so like. I just think it's so, like, fair play to the guy. Do you know what I mean? He's working hard. He's doing all that he can do, and I think because I'm so, like, for him, I'm like, I just want to watch all of your stuff, mate. Do you know what I mean? You just want to kind of just want to get behind him and, like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it, and yeah, I like it, and yeah, of course, mate. I'm just really for him. So I do really appreciate his stuff and watching his vlogs every day. Yeah, I really like that. So yeah, that in terms of Football Manager, not a great deal, I'll be honest, but I do kind of now and then I'll have a binge. So a couple of months ago, I wasn't really making many videos at all because I didn't really have much time. But then for some reason I then managed to find time to watch more Football Manager videos. It's sort of, you know, it's the power of YouTube, right? It just sucks you in and bleeds you dry. But I ended up watching kind of a lot more Football Manager then, and just watching one-off videos from all sorts of different types of people, just to try and learn, really. Like, learn what do I like, what do I not like, what would I want to put in my videos, what would I not have in my videos. I think you've got to do a bit of that, because that's how you learn and that's how you get better at it. So yeah, so I do that occasionally, just kind of do a random click to the next video. What do I like about this, what do I like about that, what's good, what isn't so great, and why, and just trying to think that through. So I think that's helpful to do for anybody who's wanting to make these videos. Really, you've got to keep watching bits to be able to know what looks good and where everybody else is at. Do you know what I mean?
Have you watched back any of your old saves to see the difference between where you started and where you are now?
Yeah, I think everybody has to do that. In my opinion, if you want to get better, you have to look at your old stuff. It's horrible and it's painful, but it's so worthwhile, because one, it's really encouraging. I don't know about you, I don't know how you feel, but like when I've looked at my old stuff, I've been like really encouraged by it, because I've been like, oh, good, I'm so much better than I was back then. But then you also learn a lot. I think you learn by hearing yourself and seeing what you genuinely look like and sound like. It can help you get better.
I mean, when you look at yourself as a YouTube content creator, what do you see as your good points and your bad points? I know you hear it in interviews.
Oh, it's a great question, man. Great question. So I think for me, I think my good points are I'm genuinely myself when I'm doing it. I don't put on an act. I don't pretend to be somebody I'm not. I probably am slightly more exaggerated when I'm playing Football Manager in front of a camera than I normally would be without a camera, but you kind of have to be if you're recording yourself. But I can honestly, genuinely say that I'm in no way like acting or pretending to be somebody I'm not. I'm genuinely myself. So that's probably a positive, I'd say. Probably a negative of mine, I'm just so inconsistent. That would probably be mine. I'm drastically, terribly inconsistent in terms of the amount and when I release videos and create videos. And also I'd probably say I'm inconsistent in the videos themselves as well. So I'd say that some of them are like really great and I really am pleased with them, and there are videos that I put out and I'm like, oh, that was a bit crap, oh well. So that would probably be mine, I'd say. What about you? What would you say yours?
Well, I've interviewed you, mate. You're not interviewing me. Don't try and catch me out. I'm not falling for that one, dude. Don't even try it.
Sly move, my friend. Sly move.
So obviously, in real life, do you have a football team you follow?
Yeah, I'm a Spurs fan.
So obviously, how do you feel you get on this season? Are you happy?
You know what? I am happy. Yeah. So after last season I was really happy as well. Like, obviously, I was absolutely gutted to actually lose out to Arsenal. I didn't mind losing out to Leicester last season. Because it was Leicester. Do you know what I mean? I thought this is amazing that Leicester have won the league. So I didn't mind that. I was gutted that we lost out to Arsenal, and it was like I think it was a 6-1 loss against Newcastle right near the end of the season last year. It was embarrassing. I am happy about this season. Second place, we're doing all right. I think if we finish in second, I'll be pleased. I don't see us winning the league, if I'm brutally honest, and I'm sorry to every other Spurs fan out there. I don't think we'll win the league, but I'm happy. Second place, you've got to be happy with that, right? You've got to be pleased with that. Obviously, terrible in Europe, but you know, it takes time to get good in the Champions League. It takes takes tons of seasons. Do you know what I mean?
If you don't finish above Arsenal this season, bloody hell.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about it because it's been so many seasons since it's happened that
you're 11 points ahead. They've got a game in hand, but you're 11 points ahead. If Pochettino blows this one, bloody hell.
Yeah, but don't put anything past us.
I mean, top four is yours, obviously. I mean, it has to be.
Yeah.
I know you have to be top four. Again, there's only 9 games of the season left for you, so I mean, it's a pretty good season. I mean, you guys, Pochettino's been a revelation since he's come. He's really turned the club around. He's done a fantastic job.
Great. I really rate him. I really do. I think he's doing a great job, and I hope that we stick with him for a long time. Like, even if next season, we're out of the top 2 or top 3 or whatever. I think even if we don't do great next season, if we can just keep with him, I think long term it could be so good for us as a club. Like, moving from ultimately a top 6 side to a top 3 side is a massive jump, is a big jump, considering the quality of teams around at the moment. I think
Do you think the days of you being a selling club are over? Do you think, because obviously you've been known for years as a selling club, you always sell your best players. Do you think those days are well and truly over now?
That's a great question.
Because you've got some. Some of the talent you've got there. I mean, I'm a huge Eriksen fan. Eriksen, for me, how he wasn't snapped up by United or whoever. But no offense, he's a Spurs fan. But how, when he left Ajax, I think it was Ajax, he wasn't snapped up by a big club, even a Real Madrid or Barcelona. That guy, everyone could see he was an awesome player. So I was amazed that you guys got him, and the fact that you've kept him. But some of the players, you've got Eriksen, Ali, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Lloris, Kane. It's insane, So
it is.
But as a Spurs fan, it's always in the back of your head of, crap, it's transfer window. Are we going to lose someone? Is half our team going to be sold? Are they going to be replaced by QPR players or something? Do you know what I mean?
It's always a matter of time, really, that you think, you think, Kane will go at the end of the season. You know what I mean? You do just think how long will this last for? But because we're getting better in the league, you just think maybe we might be able to start holding on to some of these players. But what I always love is that there's always like a decent player, young player coming up the ranks with us. There's always someone. So he's just got injured, hasn't he? But old Harry Winks, right? I think Harry Winks has got such a great future ahead of him. I think he's a great player, and I think he's only going to get better and better. There's always players like that, I think, in the Spurs squad, and so I think almost like the excitement of those players for me almost begins to outweigh my kind of sadness when the big players leave. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think we might lose some players, but I do feel if we can keep getting into this top spots, I think we'll begin to start holding on to them on a more regular basis. I don't think we'll ever be a team that bring in mega stars, though. I don't think we'll be that team. I don't think we're not like a Chelsea or a Man City that do that. I think we're, I know Eriksen is a great player and always has been, but he's not like superstar level, is he?
No,
you know
of course.
And I hope we don't turn into a club that does that, because I love the simplicity of what we do, I think.
Buy them cheap, sell them high, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think so. I love that way of doing things. I think it shows a quality of the football club as a whole. It's not just about the money, but it's about genuinely developing young players or developing players who have come from overseas who could just sharpen up a few things and become great footballers. I think that's, I don't know. It's as close to grassroots football, I think, as you can get with a Premier League side, if you know what I mean.
You're right. I mean, why did you start supporting Spurs? Was that due to a family member, someone at school, or?
My granddad grew up like it's like really, really close to White Hart Lane, around that area. So he's a North London boy. And then he moved out of the area. So he actually supported Arsenal, though. He was a North London boy, and we've got various other members of my family who live over that way. And so when I was in school, started getting into football, and then I think for about a week, because one of the cool kids supported Liverpool, I supported Liverpool for a bit. And then I think like my parents are kind of swapped roles. So my mum is like really into football, really into sport, knows more about football than I do, and my dad is into like shopping and gardening. It's kind of like their role reversals. So anyway, so I got home from school and I was talking to my mum about it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to support Liverpool. And she's like, don't support Liverpool. Your family are all from North London. Support Arsenal or Tottenham. You can't support Liverpool. Rah, rah, rah. And had a bit of a go at me about it. So I was like, oh, okay. And so I then was like, oh, Tottenham, yeah, why not? I think because Arsenal had arse in their name. So I was like, I don't want to support them. So, you know, that's what you're like when you're a kid, aren't you? So I was like, yeah, Tottenham.
Up the arse, all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. You don't want to be... I thought I can't be associated with that. So, yes. And I've never looked back, as it were. Never looked back.
I'm guessing you're an England fan as well.
Yeah, of course.
What's your views on England with Gareth Southgate? Also, do you think Wayne Rooney has a place in the English squad now or in the future?
Well, here's a bit of random trivia about Gareth Southgate, by the way, is that my uncle is was a long distance running, not because he's dead, he's alive. My uncle's still alive, doing well. But he's just not in his job anymore, he's retired. Anyway, moving on. He trained... Where is this going?
Sorry, go on, sorry.
He trained Gareth Southgate in long distance running. So, like Gareth Southgate, before he became a footballer, could have been a kind of basically a like British standard long distance runner, but he chose football instead. So, my uncle coached him, which is pretty cool. So when he was rising up the ranks in football, I always had a soft spot for him, really. Even when he missed the Euro '96 penalty, do you know what I mean? Like even then, when the rest of the world hated him, I liked him. So I'm really glad, I'm really pleased for him that he is managing England. And I do actually genuinely rate him. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a man manager, so he'll be there with the actual guys. And I think hopefully when it comes to like the actual competitions, like when we get to the Euros and when we get to the World Cups, hopefully he'll be there to really nurture the people, because I think by the time you get to like the World Cups and the Euros, the finals, it's not about how good they are at football. They're not going to get any better and they're not going to gel anymore as a team in 2 weeks. But what is going to be important is like their morale and stuff. And I think he's got that skill to do that. So I quite like him. Not saying that we're going to go away and win everything, you know what I mean? But you know, we'll still lose on penalties, obviously. But
what I like about him, he picks some form. Defoe being
he does.
Defoe being an example. Michael Keane, you know, he's not these guys who just go for the big name plays like Rooney. He's picking players on form. Now, you could argue that if Harry Kane and Sturridge had been fit, Defoe would have been a start 11, maybe not over the squad. But he's picking guys on form, and I like the fact that you get. I mean, I'm a Wales fan, so I can't say anything, but it's good to see an England manager picking guys on form rather than just going there for the big names. And he's going for My issue would be, why the hell is he picking Joe Hart? Because I don't rate Joe Hart at all. I really don't. But that's a different conversation for a different day.
But no, I think it's a really good point, though. You know, it's that age-old conversation, isn't it? Of like, you know, these guys, they get paid so much, blah 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 blah, and they don't have any passion anymore. And I think by picking players who are in form, it will not just give them a morale boost and a bit of a sense of like, yeah, we can do this, but also it kind of might help buck the ideas up of those that haven't been playing so well to actually, maybe they are the big names and just assume they'd get picked. And if they're not getting picked, it might cause them to go, right, when I do get an England shirt on, I'm going to really go for this and I'm going to really put my guts into it. And so I quite like the fact he's doing that as well. I think it's great. It's a great shout of him. As for Rooney, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion. I don't have an opinion about him, really. He's an England legend. Yeah, maybe his time is up. I don't think we'll hugely miss out if we don't have him. I think we'll move on. You know, we do anyway, don't we? And as the different sort of eras of football move on, these players come and go. And I think, I don't think we need to hold on to him like tight-fistedly and be like, oh my goodness, you know, if we let him go, the whole, you know, I think there are plenty of players around. So. Yeah, I suppose that's me talking my way into saying no, he shouldn't be playing. Yeah, there you go.
I used to be United. Also, you can't change clubs. I did change clubs. I grew up as a Manchester United fan. You know, my dad was a United fan. My granddad was a City fan. but I grew up as a Manchester United fan, and one of the reasons I stopped following the Premiership and Manchester was because of Wayne Rooney. He was one of my favourite players, but when he handed his transfer request in and then changed his mind 2 weeks later when he got a £300,000 a week contract, I was like, this wasn't the Manchester United that I grew up and fell in love with. You know, when you had your Robsons, you know, your Pallisters, your Bruces, you know, when you had your Parkers and you had your Irwins and your Keys, and then Cantona, the Beckham, Sharpenins, Kichelskis, you know. That wasn't that wasn't the United. That wasn't United I fell in love with. Then that to me is what I thought is purely about money now. That's all football's become, and that wasn't when you grow up as a kid. When I you didn't care about the money. All you cared about was pretending you're Maradona running around the pitch or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like I did, and I just thought this isn't football anymore. You know, I'd always had Luton Town as like my second club because it's my local club, and I just sort of sacked off United and started following Luton, and then went to my support. But so I've always had a bit of a hatred for Wayne Rooney, should we say, since then, because I think you're the guy, and it's not him personally, it's just the way football's become. You know, it is all about money. It's not very often you see players that stay there for the love of the club. I mean, one example of that is Andre Gray. When he was at Luton Town, we just got promoted from the conference to League Two, and Andre Gray had 1 year left in his contract, and I think it was Bristol City came in for him, and he said to the club, "I want to stay for 1 more year, you guys. I'll leave it a friend. I'm not going to lie to you. I want to stay for 1 more year. I want to try and get you guys promoted again to League One." But the club said, "Look, Andre, you know, I'm guessing it's up in the boardroom. Andre, you know, we can't afford to lose you in a free. We're going to let you go." We sold it for £1 million, and then we had like a 20% add-on fee to that as well. So we got like £1.6 million for him in the end. But I like the fact that he wanted to stay there. He was going to turn down a championship move to give Luton 1 more season to try and get us promoted again. And I thought this is why I love Luton Town, because we're a big club in a small town, in my opinion. But it just shows the loyalty of players that we have, that he wanted to do that.
Oh, totally, man. I
mean, are you on Football Manager side? Are you a computer fan? Are you like an Xbox, a PlayStation man? Which one of the sides of the fence do you sit on with those two?
Oh man, yeah. I've sort of swayed, and over the years, I sort of started off with I had a Super Nintendo. That was my first ever console. So I started with Nintendo and had a Game Boy as well. So very much a Nintendo boy to start with. Then moved on to a was it a PlayStation 1? I had a PlayStation 1, like the original PlayStation. Even before it went slimline, it was like a chunky, massive thing with like a fan that was louder than an aeroplane. It was massive.
I remember that. Do you remember you could buy an adaptation for it to try and make the fan quieter? It made no difference whatsoever. It's like an adaptation that clicked onto the back of the PlayStation to try and make the fan quieter. But it didn't work at all. It just didn't work at all. It just sort of gave an echo rather than actually trying to quiet it down.
I wanted to play Tomb Raider so much I didn't care about the noise. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I want to play Tomb Raider. So I stuck with PlayStation 1. I think I then did have a PlayStation 2, and that was my last ever PlayStation. And now I don't have an Xbox. Well, I've got an Xbox 360 that, to be honest, I actually only really play GTA now and then, GTA 5 now and then actually I'm a bit of a sort of Final Fantasy geek. I love Final Fantasy games. A bit addicted to those because they're just massive, aren't they? They're just huge games. So I've got a couple of old games of those, of Final Fantasy games, and apart from that, I just use it for Netflix. Most of the gaming I do will be on the PC. Well, I say that, the PC, my work laptop, because I've just used up all the space on my work laptop for games.
We'll edit that out, don't worry. It's a work, don't
edit that out as well. Yeah, edit that out. I actually, every time I have to go to my IT guy, if the laptop's like playing up a bit, I have to kind of try and hide like OBS and Audacity and to hide all the games. I like put them all in this little secret folder. I'm like, please don't find it. Please don't find it.
Forget about the porn. That's fine. Just don't find my Football Manager game. That was telling me.
Yeah, anything but the Football Manager.
When you play on the computer, do you have a favourite game apart from FM that you play, or?
I've City Skylines. I've downloaded. Well, it was quite a few months ago now, but City Skylines. I've got that, and I quite enjoy that. I'm also a bit of a Civilization fan. I think similarly to Football Manager, which is really involving, right? You know how you just completely consumed by it. I love those kind of games that kind of suck you in, grab you by the throat, and never let go. Do you know what I mean? You wake up thinking about them, and you kind of go into a darkened room and play them for like 5 hours at a time, and then come out and be like, where has my life gone? They're the sort of games that I like. So City Skylines does that, Civilization does that, FM obviously does that as well. But again, it's just finding the time for it. Just finding the time for these things. It's tricky, man. It's tricky.
I mean, when you play Civilization, I mean, we've all got ways that we play the game. I mean, how do you play the game? Are you one of those guys that goes out and tries to dominate the world by killing everyone? Do you try and build the latest technology? Are you a bit of a Gandhi where you want to be friends with everyone? How do you play the game?
Yeah, interesting you say Gandhi. I've two ways. I'm either a Gandhi that tries to be friends with everyone. The other tactic I have would be culture. I just try and be the most cultured. So try and get all the kind of world wonders built as quick as I can, and so that your influence naturally increases and breaks into other civilizations. So it's one of those two. I've tried the warlord thing, and I'm pretty poor at that. I never seem to time it well. I either kind of wait too long, and then the other guys have like got huge armies that can just destroy me, or I'm ready to go, and then my army's so pitiful and weak, and everybody's far more advanced than I am. So it just never works for me. That the aggression thing, it doesn't work. Doesn't fit well with me.
I play the game aggressively. I just want to go out and kill everyone. I don't do very well, but that's how I play the game. Right, you guys have been listening to me, BenDPB. Thank you all for listening to another episode today. I mentioned it before, but the best way to listen to the show, I feel, is what I do anyway. There's a program called a YouTube to MP3 converter. Convert this to an MP3 file, put it on your phone, listen to it on the way to the work. That's exactly what I do with #narrative, the FM Scout podcast. That's what I do anyway. But I want to thank you, Worst FM, for coming to the show today. If you could do me a quick favour, you want to have a quick chat about your Corby Carnage save, give it a little bit of shout out, give your social media shout out, and of course your channel. Great, well thanks for having me, Ben. I really enjoyed a good old chinwag today. Come on to my YouTube channel, that is at Worst Football Manager Ever. I'm currently doing a Corby save with Corby Town FC. I'm in my second season with them, and things are going all right at the moment actually. So I may be the worst football manager ever, but I'm actually not doing badly. So come and join that save, subscribe to that, and come and have some fun with that. I'm on Twitter at Worst F Manager, and love to chat with people on Twitter about all sorts of rubbish and stuff. Also, I occasionally stream on Twitch at Worst Football Manager Ever on twitch.tv, so you can check me out there as well. But apart from that, I'll either see you on YouTube or see you on Twitter or whatever. Well, you guys have been listening to me, BenDPB. Thank you all for listening, and don't forget, before you go, diolch.